Hey everybody, it's your girl Jada Michelle with For the Record, and today I have a very special guest. I have Boss Lady K here, CEO of Blasian Marketing, and so much more. If you're interested in not only knowing more about her, but how she can help you, then stay tuned. So I actually met her through Instagram. I wrote her on Instagram because I seen that she's recently launched a digital marketing company online, which is pretty cool. I think people, especially people who aren't familiar, they're not aware of how important social media is, or even how to take advantage of it. So to have somebody, especially in the area of Orlando, who offers that service to people is very helpful. But how did you even come up with that idea? What made you want to do that?
Well, initially, 3 years ago, I started working with Creative Universe, and of course, Creative Angel, and just doing different marketing techniques when it came to networking events, just trying to bring the community together to understand our purpose, with the positive movement that we have. And, it was just something that I loved to do, and it didn't feel like a job. So, of course, you have to trial and error and be able to work with other people before you can actually turn it into, a legitimate business and study and learn. And after a while, it was just like the demand I knew was high for it, and Ty Lopez, he's one of a really good mentor that I know, not personally know, but of course, social media, he's a really big social media influencer. And I also knew that I was really good at building websites.
Okay.
So once I started doing that, I was like, wow, I think this is something that I actually enjoy doing, but I know I can make money and make a business out of it and incorporate it with the social media platforms.
That's awesome. Well, kudos to you guys. Also, that's cool, because most of the time when you think of that, it's kind of like a man's thing. You don't ever think of a woman really, so it's awesome to see that. But what would you say, especially working with Creative Universe and Creative Angel, who is an artist, right?
Yeah.
What would you say is important for artists who are looking to reach a bigger audience? Should it be their social media? Should they have websites? Like, what's some things that they need to have minimal?
Well, just in my opinion, I definitely know that now that we are the generation that we're in, especially in 2018, you definitely want to make sure that everything is fluid. So, of course, if you have to first figure out, like, what are you trying to connect as an artist with the general public? Who's your target audience? And then once you establish that, then you're able to incorporate that into your music and to figure out, okay, well, who's your fan base? Because if you have your fan base, okay, you know that you need to market on Instagram, and it's very important, even though a lot of people don't really use Facebook for business purposes, but they own Instagram. So at the end of the day, you have to be able to connect all the links together, and connecting Facebook, your Facebook business page, because at the end of the day, you're the artist, but you're also, the person as well. So it's like you have to be able to market it properly. And then when you connect that with Instagram, think about when people stop in your bio, what do they see? Because there's so many artists now, you want to be able to make it where it's, you're authentic. So people can say, oh, wow, why should we listen to your music? Why should I go to your concerts or your events? And if you have a website, which is very imperative, a lot of people don't think it's important, but it really is, because people can not only learn about you, your journey, but also, do you have tickets for sale? Do you have merchandise that you're selling? And then also importance of email list. I mean, a lot of people have emails to their phone, and think about it as an artist, how professional would it be if you're emailing people to say, hey, I have a concert coming up, September 1st, here's the tickets. And then it just connects it all back to your Facebook should have, your website in there, your ticket purchases. People could leave reviews to say, hey, I love the concert. My favorite song is, track number 3 or whatever it is.
Right.
So you work harder. Like, you don't work as hard, you work smarter.
Right.
Basically.
Just having everything congruent.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And fluid.
That makes sense. So that's something that I feel like a lot of people, especially in Orlando market, don't necessarily take advantage of.
Exactly. They don't, yeah.
They feel like, okay, I have my Instagram, maybe even a Facebook, but as far as how they market or understanding what is a target audience or how do I identify what that is, you have to really do some in-depth research.
Exactly, yeah.
And the information is out there, and a lot of it is free. There's YouTube, there's Google, so definitely take advantage. Do you offer things like that to where you consult with people about how they can identify those things?
Well, it just all depends. Like right now, our biggest focus is, if you need we have a social media marketing agency, so it ties into also website building,
right?
Because mainly for us to be effective, for you to grow your audience, whether you're a restaurant, an artist, you have to have a website, because what happens is you're connecting your subscribers, not just with, Instagram, but back to your own home base with your site, and then being able to, understand that purpose of what you're doing, so that way it makes sense. But we still offer, like if you're gonna seeking our services, we definitely will consult with you to say, hey, let's look at, if you have a website already, let's look at it. Is it optimized? So when I go on my cell phone, is, your logo to the far left, or is it right in the middle? Is there balance? Is it maybe you have images, but, their heads cut off? Like all of those things we'll look at and say, hey, here's our suggestions. So before you retain our services, here's what we see, but then also we want to know, what are you trying to accomplish? What do you want to fix in your site? Or do you want to develop a site? Maybe like you're saying, a lot of artists or business owners, they don't have a website yet.
Right.
And then we can start helping with, email blasts and connecting that, because it's very important. On average, for you having just one email list, that values per year approximately $2,000. That one person coming back to spend money with you continuously, but you have to market it properly.
Exactly. That makes sense. It's all about reach. But aside from the reach, right, because they want it, like you were saying, as far as being able to connect to your audience, being able to get to them, understanding who they are, what about engaging them in the content? Because a lot of artists kind of feel that, okay, if I promote this 1,000 times on my Instagram. Which, you do want to promote, and you do want to put it out there that you have this event coming up or this mixtape or whatever the case may be. But how do you do it where you don't overwhelm your viewers?
Exactly. Well, just a few suggestions. It's important to have the content. Digital content, visual content. That is super important. But everyone could do that, right? So you have to figure out what is your general message first. Because think about it, if you were the audience, what would you expect? What's going to keep you coming back?
Right.
So when you do, if I go on, for example, Instagram, because of course everyone can relate to that, and you look at, when someone looks at your profile view, some of them do not look at you individually. They will look at your profile, they will look at what's in your bio, and that determines in the first 15 seconds, what are they going to do? Are they going to click the arrow to get back out? Or are they going to say, oh, wow, that picture caught my attention, they click it, and they go more information. Definitely you want it to be a business page. You have to link it to Facebook in order to track your engagements, to see your audience, to get that assistance for you to know. And that's free assistance for you to connect your Instagram, your business Facebook page to your Instagram.
Right.
To be able to reflect, okay, well, my engagers, they're connecting at 3 p.m. So then you can post. But don't keep posting the same thing, because once it becomes repetitive, now you've lost a follower. Because there's no emotion behind what you're posting.
Exactly. Which is why I tell people, I know here, for the record, we offer the option to help people if they want to have some quality content to be able to post on their social media that'll engage your audience. It's more than just buy this, buy that, because people, guess what? They buy from people they like.
Yes, and it's off of emotion.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So you have to actually connect with them, make them feel like, oh, I know this artist, oh, I love this person. So naturally, anything you do, they'll support. That's how people work.
And just to give you an example, just because, we're talking about relative things. So bring it back to, the artist creative angel.
Right.
You have creative angel, and then you have him as the individual, angel himself, right?
Right.
So that at the end of the day, there's separation, but it all is congruent with each other. So he's a very positive influencer that will still always be willing to learn and teach at the same time,
Right.
which then flows into his music, but it also connects to the merchandise.
Exactly.
So there's a positive influence when you shop online.
Mm-hmm.
There's a positive influence when you see his highlights and his stories.
Right.
When he does his posts, if he does a video, it's always in positivity, uplifting the crowd and the community to say, you know, without saying, I need you to see me, I need you to be there. You know,
Right.
He's giving people the reason to be there because it's touching them internally, which
Right.
therefore you don't have to stand on the side of the road with a big sign to say, please buy this hat now.
Right.
You know, they understand there's a purpose behind each item that we sell, going back to his positive affirmations that he says
Right.
on camera when he's performing.
Exactly.
Going back to the content of the recaps of showing, okay, you were at this event, and then showing that emotional, wow, this person impacted the crowd because of what he's delivered for him as a man.
Exactly.
Connecting it to the artist,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so.
That makes sense. And also kind of staying true to himself, and there's some sense of authenticity there.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't feel like, oh, this is a ploy or it's fake. It's very much consistent through everything,
Absolutely.
who he is, him as an artist, like you were saying. So that also helps people gravitate towards you more.
Instead of always trying to be like someone else, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be like yourself and figure out what is your niche to say, okay, well, you know, I'm an artist, or I'm a singer, or I'm a writer, or I'm a marketer, you
Right.
know, and then focus on you. Because when you focus on self-development, it's like, you believe it or not, you're attracting those people to
Exactly.
return and do business with you because they see you're consistent within yourself.
Exactly.
And consistent with the marketing and everything.
No, exactly. That's awesome. So you definitely have done a lot, and I know you've gone through a lot of experiences, and that's helped you take the next step, which you have just recently launched a women's network.
Yes.
And that is so exciting. And I have the pleasure to be a part of that. So tell us about that. Tell us the story behind the network and how did you come up with it and the event that you have coming up.
Absolutely. So Millennial Women's Solution Network, we have launched that into a nonprofit. And how that started, you know, just even with the profession of getting to know people in the community with, you know, marketing, networking over the last few years, you meet so many beautiful women
Yeah.
that have different careers or aspirations, and you're like, wow, well, there's people that are, like, for example, I have a main job, right? So
Mhm.
I go to work, and those women are not as fortunate to meet those other women that I've come across.
Right.
You know, but then they have similar aspirations. And it doesn't matter the age, it's like, hey, well, you know what, instead of spending the time of trying to connect everybody together, like, hey, let's go out, you know, for something to eat or whatever the case may be, it's like, wow, well, we have all these resources, and you have so many women that, you know, or friends that call that are like, wow, I just need this missing link. So it's like, well, why don't we just support each other and just connect everything together?
Right.
So that way we could share the same, to know that we have the same pain, that
Right.
we have the same success, or, you know, because if the people that you're around,
Mhm.
when what you seek seeks you. So if you seek, okay, greatness, and you have all these women in Central Florida, because of course eventually we want it to be worldwide, right? But we
Mhm.
have to start with what we can control, and that's
Exactly.
locally, right?
Mhm.
So getting together, forming it as a nonprofit to say, hey, okay, most of these women, hearing other people, they talk about financial stress, that they have business endeavors, but they have setbacks because finances,
Mhm.
or even just mentally, you know, something happened to their mom or their significant other.
Mhm.
And instead of them continuing with the project, they've now set themselves back. But how powerful would you be internally if you had other people that shared similar, you know, ups and downs to
Mhm.
say, hey, okay, well, you know what, let's regroup. You know,
Yeah.
and then it becomes automatic because what you practice, it becomes habitual.
Mhm.
But of course, it has to be a good habit, you know?
Exactly.
So that's why we said, you know, we have a lot of resources, and look, just even, you know, on Instagram, we found each other, you
Right.
know? And then realizing, wow, other people in the community have worked with us.
Mhm.
So now it's like fluid when we just meet each other. It's like, I feel like I've known you for 5 years, you know,
Yeah.
we just met each other.
Mhm.
So, you know, connecting everybody together and starting with a platform, that's why we created a website to be able to have that hub where the women are able to understand. Because in social media, right, in Instagram, you only have a attention span of about 15 to 60 seconds
Exactly.
when it comes to a scroll, right?
Mhm.
So maybe in their downtime when they can't sleep or when they're up in the morning, whatever the time is, you have a website to go back to say, okay, well, there's other women here that have accomplished. That doesn't mean they're better than us, but that means that, wow, they're on the same journey. The only difference is they're not allowing the thoughts, the mental, the environment, circumstances to slow them down. So we have the spotlight feature, which explains, a headshot of different women with a bio, and where you can learn more to connect back with, connecting back with, let's say if they have a website or, they're a realtor or, they do blogs, you can connect back with those women.
Right.
And then it's like, hey, well, we're going into the third quarter of the year. We've got to set this off properly. Because if you take the years by quarters and you say, okay, you know your purpose, what are you trying to accomplish with your goals by the end of the last quarter, you'll be surprised with what you do. So we're like, hey, it's last minute. I've always learned, especially from like Les Brown, who's one of my favorite mentors that I listen to, run after the things that bring you fear. So it's like, hey, okay, we have literally 28 days to make this event happen, you know, and it's like the more fear, it's like run for it. So we just ran for it and we said, you know what, we're going to do it. Even if it doesn't make sense to other people, we're going to do it properly and we're going to make it impactful. So that's why we decided, okay, we're going to have our first inaugural women's brunch, which will be next Sunday, July 29th. And it's, we'll have the pleasure of having you there to speak, to share a few minutes with us where other women are able to come together, network, and understand who you are, because on a regular they may see you, scrolling through and not really understand your story or don't have the pleasure of meeting you as of yet, so what a way of doing that by having that moment where we can share with you how your passion is of what you feel and what keeps you going.
Exactly. So that's exciting.
I'm excited. Yeah.
I know it's kind of nerve-wracking too at the same time, like you're saying, running towards your fears, right? Naturally, those things give us like the most anxiety. And it's things
the
that...
unknown.
Right. Exactly. It's just like, okay, well, I don't know how this is going to go.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of heart to really just say, you know what, forget it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. That's it. And I think especially being a creative, we are very critical. We're very self-critical.
Yes.
And a lot of times that self-critical and fear can kind of prevent us from actually taking the next step.
Exactly. Like we'll have ideas, but then we don't take it. It's like, oh, are they going to understand the purpose? Are they going to be engaged? Are they going to buy a ticket? Are they going to show up? But you can't allow those things, because if you come from a good purpose and you're like, hey, I just want to share that. Right. Share that energy, those frequencies, because a lot of people don't understand. When you are around someone, it's like we are all full of energy. You know what I mean? And it all starts, with God himself. So it's like, think about it. If you're around people that have wonderful energy, you can feel that. That's why when you see something that's incredible, you get goosebumps, or maybe you might cry in an instant, or you'll crack up, and laugh. But it's just because they took that risk to deliver that message.
Exactly.
And that's what we want to do. And it's just incredible how in such a last minute opportunity, we have so many sponsors that are like, hey, we'd love to give you, sponsor you for giveaways, and we love what you guys are doing, and hey, we do these door prizes, and if you guys need any assistance, thank God, even the Golden Spoon, they're a major sponsor for the food, and I mean, it's just awesome, and definitely like Michelle said, it's for the culture, and that's what it's about, because we are the ones who are taking care of our culture.
Exactly. And I feel like that's very, very important. So part of the reason why this, for the record, is even here is because of trying to just shed light and bring the culture back to us, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Because it started to stray away, and it's just like, okay, hold on one second. Let's regroup, and let's take advantage of this media that we have so we can tell our stories and be able to connect and relate to each other on another level that we haven't been able to do before. So
because if you cut the flow of energy, you don't realize everything stops, Exactly. And a lot of people don't want to support each other because they're in competition with each other, or a lot of women are afraid to leave a comment, on your picture, your post, because they're embarrassed to say that you're beautiful. And it's like you have to also realize you can't take those things personal, because that's just how they feel internally.
Right.
But how much people would we help if, you keep the culture going, you keep the flow of energy going, for them to embrace the support, to say, hey, you know what? man, I keep seeing her. She's consistent. She's working so well. Her message is amazing. Whether they share the same desires as you, we should still support what you're doing without, with it being effortlessly. Like, so that way it's not a job. It's like, I really want to support her, and we shouldn't have to have 10 years of history.
Right.
For us to be able to support each other.
Mm-hmm.
We should be able to see, wow, she's committed. So why not? Let's gravitate and figure out what is she doing so we can work as a team together.
Exactly.
So
that makes sense. Well, that is awesome. I'm definitely happy for you. It's a big step. I always like seeing women take that. It's hard for me. I'm one of those ones who are afraid to say anything. Mainly because I have this fear of rejection sometimes. Yeah. So I'm not even when it comes to the opposite sex. When it comes to, if I see a dude who look good, I'm not even going to say anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to let's wait and see what he says.
Yeah.
But it's true, and sometimes women are in competition with each other, and I'm just like, but like, I want to bring everybody together. I want everyone to work with each other because, I mean, we run the world at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
We reproduce for the reason why people are here. So, or I guess a big part of the reason why people are here. But I think something like that is very important, especially in today's age. Women are starting to come together and like take a second to be like, you know what, like we could do this. We don't have to listen.
And it helps your relationship. I mean, you don't need a man to survive, right? But and think about it. It's like, how can you be a man's backbone if you can't even be your own backbone? And that's the thing where we have to make sure that our fears, we are aware of our fears, right?
Right.
But once we know we're aware and we try to put ourselves in those uncomfortable situations, it's like, okay, I could do this. So maybe this is something where, women will be less irate, and they'll have more self-confidence, whether they're in shape or not, to embrace themselves, to be able to be loved by their significant other. Because if you could, thing is, a lot of people can't deal with it when you're like whole and you have someone that's insecure, whether it's a friend or someone in a relationship, that's very hard to mesh with after a while. Yeah. Which infidelity is easy to enter, right?
Exactly.
So if we are one and we are strong and passionate with other women, and it's like you are going to be a ray of sunshine in your household, with your kids, with your other jobs, with your husband, with your boyfriend, with your anything.
Right.
I mean, it's like unstoppable. And that's where a lot of women, like, instead of us trying to be half naked and looking at like other people, why don't we just, whoever we are, let's tap into that, and our own sexy will show instead of having to force it.
Exactly.
It comes natural. So
exactly.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm a little nervous about speaking, but which, I mean, I guess you would think you do this all the time, but it's just speaking live in front of people. I don't know.
I know, me too, but that's why we are here, because we are going towards our fears.
Exactly.
And we're doing it together. And that's just the best feeling, is to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And not quit.
Yep, absolutely. And I definitely appreciate you allow me to be a part of it as well.
Oh, absolutely.
As you have. And I definitely appreciate you coming on here as well. But where can everyone connect with you? What's the best way to reach you?
Well, there's a few ways. You have to have a few.
Yes.
But Instagram, my personal Instagram is Creative K, no E, CreativKay, Creative K. And you can also, Blasian Media, we are on, we're everywhere. You can put us on Facebook, you can look us up in Instagram, you'll find us in case you need marketing services, website, social media marketing with our social media agency. And then the women's empowerment, definitely follow. We have it. It's Millennial Women's Solution Network. We are on there. So definitely add us, follow us, share it. We'd love to meet more women and have more opportunities where we could do events with you. Eventually we'll offer financial assistance for business startups.
Oh, wow.
So we're just working on a lot to bring to Central Florida.
That is awesome. Well, I'm definitely excited to see the progression with all of your endeavors. So
thank you, and it's a pleasure. Thank you so much, Jada.
Oh, thank you. And everybody, I'm going to have all of her information down below in the link, or links here, so you can go ahead and actually
it's in all bios.
Yes.
Don't worry.
So you can see all the information and know how to connect and how to find her. And definitely, if you're interested in being a part of the Millennial Women's Solution Network.
Yes, and our brunch, right?
Yes, and the brunch.
We'll be there
July
next
29th.
Sunday.
July 29th. So Sunday. I
July
know half of
29th.
y'all work Monday through Friday anyway. If you have anything to do, there's going to be a great opportunity to come network and meet some amazing
Absolutely.
women like yourselves out there.
Yes.
So, but thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Well, until next time, you guys, we're out.